Wanted to touch on the Charlie Kirk killing yesterday, but not necessarily from a political standpoint, a right or left, conservative, liberal standpoint, but more of a from a societal standpoint. And if you want to watch this whole video, you can go to YouTube and watch the whole thing. This one's going to be a little bit shortened, but it's my opinion that in today's society, just adults, young adults, we lack the ability to emotionally regulate ourselves. And so we end up doing crazy things and saying crazy things. Not only that, we're not able to actually receive new information. I don't care if you're on the right or the left, but you're triggered by what you think is right, what your fundamental belief system is, your ideologies. And so you just react and you become emotionally charged. And when you have someone like Charlie Kirk, and before you think I'm conservative, I'm not, I'm more independent, but you have people on both sides who are able to keep composure and actually talk about things logically without so much emotion, and using research, using stats, and actually able to have a conversation like an adult. You have guys like Charlie Kirk who's able to do this. You have people like Ben Shapiro who can do this. And on the left, you have Barack Obama, who is arguably, in my opinion, one of the greatest speakers. He was so articulate and so well composed and had a presence about him, and he got heckled from the right, he got heckled, and he was always able to be composed and actually see and hear what somebody else was saying. And if you gave him the opportunity to respond to that with facts and data in a way that was respectful. And we've lost that as a society. We've lost that ability to emotionally regulate and to respond like an adult and with respect. Like your thoughts on that. Now, the other part of this, part two of this video, is we've dehumanized. I just got off a call with my boy Mo at Hood News Radio, and as a culture, we've dehumanized somebody else. We see things two-dimensionally. We see things two-dimensionally through social media, through a phone, and through a screen, and that's not reality. That's not who somebody really is. You only see one side of things. You're not able to feel the emotion. You're not able to actually talk to somebody in depth, understand where they're coming from, why they think the way they think, why they feel the way they feel, regardless of not whether you agree or disagree, but just to try and get their perspectives. When you see things as black and white, you're never going to have that opportunity. And I'm not talking about race. I'm talking about a two-dimensional aspect. We've lost a sense of actually getting to know someone and why they feel the way they feel. Now, when you have people that go out and just emulate behaviors, whether it's from a video game or a movie, or again, this two-dimensional, facade of what reality is, when somebody pulls a trigger, and I'm not saying in this case, I'm saying in general, they don't connect the dots of what it actually means to pull a trigger and kill and take somebody else's life. They're simply emulating a behavior that they've heard or they've seen. They're not emotionally connected to the action and the consequence. If that makes sense, if it doesn't make sense, let me know. I'll try and elaborate or clarify on that. But we've got to do a better job of, with our kids first and foremost, to really explain to them and humanizing people. I don't care who it is. I don't care if it's an immigrant, black, white, red, brown, doesn't matter. We all are humans. We all have emotions. We all have parents. We all have kids. We all have these things. And those are things that connect us, and look for what's connecting us rather than what's dividing us. Because I guarantee you may not agree with everything somebody says. You may not agree with a lot of what they said, but there are certain things that you can find common ground. And if anything, you find these things that you take the common ground, and it helps lower your defense system. You're not as emotionally charged. And when you can do that, at that point, now you're able to have a conversation, a dialogue. There's this experiment that I did way back in the day with a bunch of people. But what I did was I got a whole group of people. I had these questions on cards, and they were very personal questions. But I blindfolded everybody so you couldn't see. And the questions were asked, and the questions were answered by these people. And then after someone gets to know somebody through these questions, the blindfold comes off, and you see this person in a whole different light. Now just imagine that for 1 second. If you saw somebody, you didn't know if they were black, white, immigrant, whatever, but you just knew more about them. Whether it was through text or through a voice that you could just go back and forth and ask questions, and then you actually saw them, you would see them in a different light, because at that point you've humanized them. You've learned something about this person. You didn't just go off in emotion. You didn't just go off what you thought was the truth. You actually took the time to find out more about it. It may or may not change your stance on something. That's beside the point. But at that point, you've lowered your emotional and nervous system enough where you can actually have that conversation and see this person for who they are, which is another human being.